Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank the people over on Patreon who have taken the time out to help support the channel, and just got to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. Once I start offering memberships and figure out what to offer for memberships on this channel, I'll start adding the names of YouTube members as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another review for Boruto episode 183, and episode 183 is done in the books, and I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I was actually pleasantly surprised at this sub arc that is being shoved into this current arc of the vessel situation. So those of you guys who read the manga know that this episode was basically a whole adaptation of chapter 18 of the Boruto manga, but there are some differences here. So the first difference that stands out is that you have this subplot where Amato is basically playing Among Us with all the members in the car organization, and Amato is looking for the imposter among them. They're trying to find out who the mole inside a car is, who was the one who actually set up Victor, and who is the one who is working against Ishiki, even though we are at phase 3. And I have to say, this is actually a good way to actually switch up what you're getting, because the fact of the matter is that they're really building towards the next move of a car member who is going to start showing up in the anime. He's already popped up, but we haven't seen him in his full glory yet. And so I thought that this was actually nice right here, that they're taking the time to build up something like that. It's a nice way to give you extra information that furthers the actual story. And manga readers, when you see that scene where Delta is talking to Code and she's like, hey, do you want to spar? You know, people automatically go back to the whole thing of how Code and Boro are implied in the manga of being stronger than Delta. And so I like how you see more of that relationship right there about how Delta don't necessarily care for Boro or Code. So I like that right there. I like how Delta says, like, you're the closest one to Jigen. That's another important line. Like, I just love the little small Easter eggs that they've kind of crammed into these small car organization interactions. I thought that was nice. Now, I have to say this much. So I've seen a few people complaining that, oh my god, man, why in the world are they only doing one chapter per episode? So the reason why I think that people need to keep this in mind is, like, yes, Boruto is a monthly manga, and on one hand, in most anime, in my opinion, if it only adapts one chapter, you're gonna say, like, damn, the pacing's a little slow. But you have to remember, chapters for a weekly manga are about like 16 to 18 pages, 18 being like, you get 18 pages in a weekly chapter, like, oh shit, this was a good chapter, this was meaty. Usually it's about 16 pages. So Boruto chapters are about 44, so it's roughly about 2.5 weeks worth of material, and that's basically what they adapted. So I'm fine with the pacing that they've done for this arc. I have to say, one thing that they're doing a really good job at, something that I'm so excited to see the anime only fans reaction, is how they've been rehabilitating the character of Katasuke. Because one thing you've seen in this arc is the fact that, like, they're really hammering home how scientific ninja weapon tech can be used as a way to better the lives of people. And I like how you get the woman from the Inuzuka clan, which I have to say, I thought that drawing her in the way that they did, I thought that was kind of cool. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually made her breast bigger. I think that she's a little more shapely than I remember her to be. I remember she had some hips in the manga, but I don't remember the tatas being that big. So, you know, they kind of went like a little, you know, so and they slid up the dress. But, you know, I was like, hey, you know, that's kind of cool right there, man. Like, they did that, and then they kind of played up her importance, and so I thought that was cool. They mentioned in the manga that she was basically one of Katasuke's right-hand women, but I like how, you know, you see how, like, she's like low-key kind of crushing, but it's like an employee mentor type crush. So I thought that was nice. I like how they kind of adjusted the dialogue around Sumire, where all of a sudden it wasn't necessarily one of those things where they said, oh, you didn't participate in the tuning exams. They tweaked it a little bit, and they said, like, oh, you actually came here to learned how to better work with new. And I thought that was cool to get that moment right there. And they actually gave like the Boruto Sumire fans a little bit of red meat right there. You know, Boruto fans were very upset last week because they cut out what a lot of Boruto fans have been saying. It's like, oh, this is an indication that Boruto likes Sarada a lot. And I'm just gonna say it, man. I've been saying it for a while, but this smells like Narusaku, where you're gonna have a bunch of people that are gonna be shipping Boruto and Sarada together, and what's gonna end up happening is it's gonna be Boruto and Sumire. That's just, it smells like it. It really smells like it. And the fact that they kind of took this scene out and then they took out another scene in the Mujina Bandits, like little small things like that. Like I think that they're kind of preparing you guys for this. But what I will say is that I like how, you know, you see a little bit more depth to Sumire as a character. And what I have to say is that, you know, outside of her whole thing of like, I want to work with new and this is how we're going to do it, I'm going to keep them from freaking out by sharing this vision. But she also talks about wanting to be able to support the village. I thought that was interesting just because of her backstory. Now to get to what all you guys are like, oh shit, can't believe this actually happened in the episode, which is Boruto and Mitsuki going up against Sarada. And I got so much to say about that, man. I got so much to say. So like in the manga version of this fight, it was very quick, and in the anime it was really quick. Like this was one of those times where like I was praying that they would add more scenes to this fight, because like in the manga, Boruto and Sarada, like the Boruto and Sarada fight in the manga actually feels like it's longer, which I know somebody's like, Jesus Christ, it was so short in the anime. But when you read the manga version of the fight, like if I'm not mistaken, you had like little sound effects around there, so it made it seem like Boruto and Sarada got into a little bit of a taijutsu exchange before Sarada actually ended up throwing the smoke screen that dulls all 5 of the senses. And in the anime, they show you a brief portion of that taijutsu sequence where Sarada and Boruto, they get into it. But the fact is, like, because of the way the speed lines are drawn on there, I thought that was going to be multiple exchanges, and I really thought that the anime team had an opportunity to add more sequences to this to build up to the whole thing of the smoke screen. I thought that, you know, you got Sarada going up against Mitsuki and up against Boruto, and Boruto saying, I'm not going to hold back. Mitsuki saying, we can't hold back for research purposes. We didn't really see any of the top level jutsu. I'm not expecting like a Rasengan being punched out the air by Sarada. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying I would have liked to actually seen a little bit more there. But I will say it was kind of cool to actually see how, you know, the scientific ninja weapon tech they have, when that smoke bomb goes off, the first thing that pops up in my head is the silent killing jutsu, which is a trademark jutsu of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. That's how they did a lot of their assassinations. That's where, you know, they dulled the ability to see, and they are able to move without making noise, and that's one of the things that Zabuza use. I thought that was, you know, a nice little callback right there. Now, what I have to say is I like how, you know, you see Boruto, his whole stance towards ninja weapon tech begins to change. You know, Boruto has this moment where he's being bratty and he's like, oh, you know, being a shinobi, you can walk using your own chakra. And it's just like, Boruto being a genius, he knew that, like, okay, there is some extra benefit to this. And I like how, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Mitsuki calls him on. I think Mitsuki gives him a little bit of shit test and says, you know, you can actually save chakra by not using your chakra, and you use these gloves and boots to be able to walk up on the wall, and that allows you to actually focus on combat without actually burning your chakra. And Sarada gives him a little bit of a shit test as well, and you know, Boruto just makes a stink face after fact. Boruto is looking at Sarada like, this bitch right here, I can't believe she called me on it, because Sarada says, it looks like you're actually having a little fun here. And I like how you just see Boruto's whole stance just gradually change throughout the episode. And I get why Boruto's being a little bratty, because, you know, Boruto was essentially saying like, look, you know, I got in trouble for this. Ninja Tech's bad, and all of a sudden you guys tell me it's good. I know that it's supposed to be based off of how you actually use it, but I got embarrassed with it. Therefore, I'm a little traumatized by it. I don't really care for it. Like, I understand where he came from, but I will say this much. I do like how as he gets new information, new experiences, and I like how the people that are working there, the Inuzuka chick as well as Sumire, they come to Boruto and they say like, look, you know, this ninja tech isn't always bad. And the fact that there's so many different versions of it, which I'm gonna do a video on, but the fact that there are so many different versions of ninja tech, it's one of those things where, you know, Boruto, he's closed-minded to it, but his mind is opening up to it. And I think that one thing that, you know, Boruto didn't realize that he was doing is the fact that he went into that lab and he was shit-talking ninja weapon tech. And the reason why I said that's interesting to me is that that's disrespectful. You know, you have to look at it from this perspective. He basically went into these people's profession where they're very, very passionate about it. Sumire is so much to the point that they're setting up stuff that happens later on in the manga where Sumire says like, I'm gonna transfer back to Konoha and work right alongside Katasuke. I won't be at this outsourced lab. The fact is that these people put so much time and energy and passion behind all this weapon tech. You know, it would be something different if Boruto walked in there and Boruto's offering constructive critiques about the ninja weapon tech, like, hey, it doesn't respond in this way. I think maybe you can kind of tweak things this way. When you start critiquing, that's different than actual hating, but that actually comes down to a maturity aspect too, because of the age that Boruto's in. Boruto, for as smart as he is, sometimes he still has those moments where he has good intentions on something, but he'll still put his foot in his mouth, and that just comes from experience. That comes from getting older. And so you have to keep in mind, Boruto's a 13-year-old child, so at this point I don't necessarily hold that against him. But again, I like how as he gets new information, he is mature enough to where his mind begins to slowly change and his preconceived notions are slowly kind of washed away. And when you get the backstory of what happened with the ninja hound and everything, you know, those are little small things where, you know, I know for me, you know, it definitely hit me because it made me think about, you know, my dog Prince, who died back in May of last year in 2020. You know, I remember when I found out about the cancer treatment that I could give him, and once he went through that treatment, you know, Prince was like 4 years old, but at that time when he went through that treatment, Prince acted like a puppy all over again as he went through the treatment. You know, he got a second chance at life, and you could see that he was acting like a puppy the whole way. And for the next 8.5 years that I had him after that, up until the point where he was almost 13 years old, Prince was still acting like a damn puppy. You know, what ended up killing my dog was he had kidney failure, but he wasn't slowing down until his kidneys started giving him issues. So when I saw that part right there where the Inuzuka chick was talking about it, that's one of those things where, you know, I know for myself what science can do for not just your pets, but also for yourself. And so I thought that that was interesting, just those human elements and how Katasuke is, you know, being showered with affection by the dog. And I just love how they're rehabilitating his image, because I still saw going into this arc how a few people are like, well, I don't care if he's been brainwashed, he's still on some sucker shit. So I like how those same people, you know, their opinions are changing of him. I've been reading comments on a few different areas, and so I like how this episode definitely just does a good job of getting him over. And I can say for anime only fans, I believe it's going to be next episode or the episode after that, Katasuke is really going to get over on you. Now, I want to close out with this, man. You know, we saw how Boruto used the ninja lightsaber that so many of us have been waiting to see. You know, I want to know from you guys, so like, when it comes to scientific ninja weapon tech, what side of the discussion / debate are you actually on? Is ninja tech bad, or can ninja tech actually be used in a good way? Did this episode, if you're one of those people who say that we don't need ninja tech in a world where it's basically about shinobis, did this scientific ninja weapon tech that you saw in this episode actually change your opinion on how it can be utilized? And if you're an anime only fan, how do you feel about the fact that Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki being dispatched to back up Konohamaru and Mujino on their mission that they're on. And as a reminder, that is car related. Obviously, you guys who saw the episode where the blimp ended up crashing and the vessel was inside of there, all roads are leading to Kawaki at this point. And so I'm really curious to see what the anime only fans actually think about this. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.